What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com, and FightfulSelect.com. If you all haven't checked out FightfulSelect.com, go ahead and do that. I'm getting questions for our Q&A podcast for this week as we speak. I posted scripts from Raw and SmackDown. I'll have early access to the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. We'll have Stupid People Extended. We'll have the Fightful Weekender podcast where we review Ring of Honor, 205 Live, NXT, Impact, all kinds of stuff over there. Have a couple new features that we're working on, doing UFC rankings breakdowns, just a ton of extra additional exclusive content over there. Of course, you can get all of your free wrestling news, all of your exclusives, everything you've come to know and love out of Fightful.com over at Fightful.com and FightfulWrestling.com. We have some exclusives this week coming up about the NXT taping schedule. We have some stuff with Colby Covington. We have some stuff with Hangman Page, all that good stuff. But tonight I am joined by Jeff Hawkins. It is May 22nd. And we often joke about the day that wrestling died on the Raw show. And that usually tends to be on Alex Palowski shows. General overreactions to things. Last night was the night that wrestling died, I think 3. And the thing was, in the afternoon, it was the afternoon that wrestling was reborn. Wrestling was stillborn yesterday.
I'm just imagining going and this is your new house here, Fox. Oh, look, it's SmackDown. You get this nice. Oh, look, Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy had a very good match. Oh, and USA, you get this offensive segment over here.
Tyler's saying it was part 4. What were the other 3? I know that it was Goldberg, Lesnar was the first. I can't remember the other ones. Now, to even further that analogy, it's like wanting a baby and then being birthed the most beautiful, perfect child and then leaving it in a dumpster. That's what happened yesterday with that Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley segment. I want your thoughts on the Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley segment that we saw last night on Raw.
I almost quit watching wrestling. I did. I mean, it's what I like to call the mom test. Whereas if you're watching this on a TV and your mom walked into the room, how embarrassed would you be that you were watching that on television when she walked in? But it's Vince. That's his campy sense of humor. And camp has been a big problem with WWE, to me at least, for a long time. I found it.
Listen to Matt Riddle. Camp WWE is a big problem.
I was offended by it and insulted, and it takes a lot in wrestling to do that. I've watched 70s and 80s vignettes with straight up racism that hasn't made me feel as stupid as watching that last night. I was embarrassed for everybody who was involved.
Well, fortunately for WWE, there's a distraction because I just watched James Harden murder a man on live TV. So distraction is created. Thank you, James Harden. We'll talk about this deal after SmackDown. I'm going to save it towards the end of SmackDown for us to talk about the Fox deal. I rather enjoyed this episode of SmackDown. I don't know if it's just because I hated Raw so much, but SmackDown tonight, it looked like the A show on this night. And hey, two straight days of SmackDown looking like the A show might be a record for the last year.
I think it was just easier to get through because of the awfulness of that Raw segment last night. That's what I tend to find is when you have a show like that and then you follow it up with something that's a little more straight ahead. It had its rough spots here and there, but it wasn't anything, that was just offensive to the senses. You can get through it pretty well and enjoy it.
The show kicked off with The Miz coming out, talking about Money in the Bank. He's joined by The New Day. I know a lot of people enjoyed this segment. I did not enjoy the first 10 minutes of it. It was harmless fun, but it seemed like a lot of wasting time to figure out who Miz's opponent was going to be.
It's more of their campy style of humor. That's what it was. And it's like everybody's kind of ahead of the joke by the time they get there. But I thought, overall the segment ended up quite well, I thought.
Oh, I love the shaming him with pancakes thing. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, I thought it was clever to get him on because once Miz started getting angry and really angry and focused angry as opposed to play angry, it was kind of cool to see him slip up and then have the New Day take advantage of that. I thought that was kind of smart storytelling. The pancakes in the face, they were trying to make him corpse and they almost did because you could see him holding it in every time he got hit in the face with a pancake.
Yeah, that was great stuff. Kyler did clarify Backlash this year and Jinder Mahal winning the title were the other nights that wrestling died. So this was the night that wrestling died IV, for going by Roman numerals. Really, Miz and New Day dicked around for about 10 minutes who he was going to face. Miz puts over Xavier Woods' channel. It felt like it went on forever. Miz is sick of the jokes. He isn't wrestling any of them tonight. But New Day shame him with the pancakes. Miz runs backstage, walks right into Paige. Man, I think Paige is excelling in this role. I thought that she was really good here.
Okay. After the way too long dramatic pause to get the sketch started, yeah, she was good.
Well, sure, yeah, that was. But I mean, I've come to expect that out of every segment they had Paige in, including.
Yeah, I'm going to defend the segment a little bit more. I thought Miz laying out the case for each member of the New Day was quite good scripting.
A lot of people liked it, man. It just wasn't for me.
I don't think it was the greatest segment in the world, but I didn't think it was bad. Let's put it that way. But
I didn't think it was bad by any means. I mean, especially after what we saw last night, it wasn't bad. It just.
My issue with the Miz Page thing is that Miz should have never stopped. He should have kept walking. That should have been a walk and talk type of segment where Page is saying, "Hey, you have to go back there," type of thing, as opposed to just the stopping and the staring was kind of abrupt, and it was like, all right. I thought somebody had forgotten their line. That's the part.
So during the commercial between Miz going out for his match and this segment, he had cut a promo and he talked about SmackDown being a billion-dollar franchise. Keep in mind, he tweeted about this yesterday, brought it up on the mic during the commercial. Man, that's as good of a confirmation as I think we're getting anytime soon. The fact that WWE, Miz ain't going to tweet anything he's not allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to say anything on that mic he's not allowed to. So that's, I love that he's doing that and he's taking credit for it. He should. Did you ever see the Conor McGregor interview where they said, how much do you think you're worth to the UFC? And he said $4.2 billion right after they sold it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Big E spanks The Miz, and then New Day serves as Big E's corner men and feed him syrup.
I liked this. I don't know what everybody else thought of this, but this was a nice little twist now on the act where we need him to rest between rounds. And so we got syrup in the mouth and a kind of, I think they were patting him down with a pancake with the Vaseline.
They've been in Europe. They do rounds over there, right?
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I mean, Big E was unrepentantly stupid in this entire thing, so it was fine. I liked it. It was good.
Big E's splash is horrifying. It looks horrifying to take.
I wouldn't put on the apron. Oh God,
either of them. Even in the middle of the ring, he gets Ultimate Warrior's splash. I don't buy as a finisher. Big E, if he did it as a finish, I would buy it every time. He gets so goddamn high up in the air.
Okay, but middle of the ring, I can still, you still get that give. I watched that one on the apron. I went, oh, he broke 2 ribs on that thing. Oh.
He also suplexed Miz about 82 times across the ring before getting a Uranagi for 2. I teased on Twitter that Miz was getting a new B team. It would be The Bar. I love the spot where Kofi launched himself off of Cesaro's shoulders to take out Sheamus. That was phenomenal. It caused a distraction, got the win for The Miz. Since November of 2015, this was Big E's second singles loss. The only other one was to Rusev. He's not done that many, but I mean, even then, like WWE loves to do the thing where the single members of the tag team lose a match, and they haven't done that with Big E a lot. This comes off of rumors, at least from PW Insider, that they want to give Big E a push. What do you make of those rumors before we get into the quality of the match.
That they've been around forever, and that they will break up the New Day when the New Day feels like breaking up because they're making way too much money to quit right now. I thought Xavier Woods was outstanding on commentary in his part of that segment. He was throwing them all off their game, and it was a blast to hear. Both Corey and Byron could not hang with Xavier on the mic. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I think there are legs in keeping them together and doing singles runs with at least one of them. I think there is a new, different, unique dynamic to that they should explore. They should dare to do some things differently because they have that option.
I would agree with you, but what does your gut say? Because we know how they do these things. It's always turn one and have the other two lose to get the heat. That's how these things end.
Yeah, and we'll get to it later, but my hope is that instead of relying on formula, they break formula. But we'll talk about that much, much later. I thought the match was fine. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this is leading to The Bar and The Miz against New Day next week. That match is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to watch that match. That's going to be a lot of fun. Then, fortunately, after the night that wrestling died, Lana and Aiden English resuscitated it. They gave it beautiful, sweet mouth to mouth. The heart started pumping again. The breath was going. Aiden English accompanies Lana to the ring amidst all these rumors of, splits. His intro was fantastic. It was great. And I see this and I'm like, oh no, they really shouldn't do a split of any kind.
I thought they bailed on it last week when they had that segment because there was absolutely no tension in it whatsoever. So I think they may have bailed. They may have just hinted at it and they've decided against it for now.
I hope so. And first impression of this, we haven't seen Lana in the ring very much at all outside of Mixed Match Challenge. If she could be even passable in the ring, she would be phenomenal for them.
She has the personality. Now the in-ring part is the issue. I am welcoming, because nothing made me laugh more than during those Mixed Match Challenge. The Lana is the best, Lana #1 song. I love that song. I'm so happy that they've brought it back, and they're not necessarily tying her popularity to the Rusev Day chant. They gave her own, but with Aiden doing it. I really kind of like this entire thing.
I've said it a million times. It's so much harder to make baby faces than heels. It seems real easy to make people. I don't know, man. They have accidentally created baby faces all over the place. Samoa Joe gets great reactions. Elias gets great reactions. Lana, Rusev, and Aiden English all get great reactions. To me, if you get that, I hitch my wagon to it, at least in a mid-card perspective.
Well, there's a problem with that because we've talked about this before, is that all their heels end up doing some sort of crowd work that's audience participation meant to get them a pop. So you never know if they're really getting the cheers or if it's just kind of the sing-along part. Like the Miz in that first segment, he even mentioned it. He goes, I could get you guys to cheer anything at this point. So it's hard to get people to boo.
With these people, man, I think that if there is a pivot, I think the crowd goes with it. I mean, God, man, Lana's been consistently over for years now. Mm-hmm. For better or for worse, the crowd's chanted, "We want Lana," for years. Iconics come out and sing a duet about Lana being a loser. They slap Aiden and Lana rushes to his aid.
The Iconics with their extended "I need to warm up" shtick. Again, I love unrepentant stupidity. I loved every bit of this and them trying to get it out of there. But yeah, the Lana rushing to the defense of Aiden might be my favorite moment on this SmackDown tonight.
And I know a lot of people will debate me on this. The slap was the worst thing. I thought that was the only real bad thing Lana did. Mm-hmm. In the ring, Lana connects with an awesome looking kick. Facebuster didn't look good. Looked real bad. But as somebody pointed out on Twitter, it would have been nice if Billie Kay left her feet for the move.
I said last week when this was brought up that someone might die. No one died. Yeah. I still think Billie Kay would have probably been better served both in the long term and the short term of being put in this match as opposed to Lana. But okay.
Yeah,
let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Lana in this match.
Yeah, like I said, Facebuster didn't look good, but it's hardly on Lana there. But she's worked 70 matches over the last year. How much do you think that means?
I think there's nominal improvement in her. I mean, she does not look as bad as she did on her re-debut. Let's put it that way. She's not, but that's not a high bar to cross. But you know what? You gotta give credit for working hard and sticking at it.
Well, to be honest, man, I watch a lot of Ring of Honor, and upon her re-debut, she looked a hell of a lot better than a lot of the women I see on Ring of Honor. I see some real bad shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is some Women of Honor is not the strongest.
Not only that, I hear women mispronouncing the name of the goddamn championship with regularity out there and calling it the Woman of Honor Championship. I'm like, damn, guys. Damn, guys. So, Lana in Money in the Bank, how does this work? What do you see her high spot being?
Oh, jeez. You gonna make me do this right now?
Yeah,
I think she's coming off the top of the ladder onto everybody. I think that's going to probably be the move in some way. She is going to do an aerial spot because she's going to be asked to do something in this match. She can't just be the one helping to catch people all the time. Yeah, I'm. Do you have a list in front of you of the 7 people doing the gauntlet next week, or however many in the Raw? Because I'm trying to figure out who's going to be.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Sasha Banks, Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Mickie James, Bayley, and Dana Brooke.
I think Ruby Riott's going to be put in that thing.
What? You don't expect Dana Brooke to be added?
You know what? That was my initial thought, to be honest with you, because I was thinking it looked like they're not putting in people who had been in the Elimination Chamber, and at least most of the people who were not in the last Money in the Bank. They were trying to give everybody a turn. So I was thinking maybe they give Dana Brooke the spot, just to have someone out there. But I'm thinking Ruby Riott's probably going to be the pick.
Occasionally, because I follow most of these people on Twitter, I'll see the give Dana Brooke a chance tweets. And I'm like, where are you people coming from? She's on the main roster. She got more than the chance that she deserved. Jesus Christ.
She was admittedly brought up a bit quick.
Yeah. She right now isn't where she needs to be called up, much less back then. Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega defeated a local wrestler, and boy, he wrecked this jobber.
You know,
he destroyed this guy.
I think he might have been a little bit angry at this guy messing up a bit. Because when Corey Graves is almost losing his stuff, watching you destroy a guy or get destroyed. That's what I knew. This isn't going as planned necessarily, and someone's taking a beating for it, and I think it's local talent.
Oh, yeah. It was just funny. That's how they even refer to them on the script is Andrade Cien Almas versus local. Well, whew, boy.
Did he just show up with a pair of tights tonight? I mean,
this guy's local. God. He's domestic, but he got an imported ass kicking. I'll tell you that much. That kick to back elbow. Well,
yeah,
beautiful.
That was sweet. And
double knees in the corner, hammerlock DDT. Now, there's a little something I want to bring up here. There was a lot of talk about how much Andrade Cien Almas likes the finest things in life. There's a guy in NXT. We'll call him Hawaiian Wade Barrett. Hawaiian Green Wade Barrett. Kona Reeves. It hasn't really been working out that great for him. He's got an awesome motor. He's a big dude. They like him, obviously. To say the gimmick isn't resonating would be an understatement, although it is developmental. But, I mean, the guy screams out, "I'm the finest," about 72 times a match.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now, this is pure speculation on our part. What do you think that means? The fact that they're using this on SmackDown Live? Because by the looks of it, there might not be Kona Reeves for quite a while based on the tapings that I saw, unless they're doing like some backstage stuff with him, which they do a lot on NXT.
But this is also isn't the first time that they've kind of cribbed from guys that they're using on NXT to take a couple of personality things traits or even a move or two from somebody on the NXT roster and have them use it on the main roster to help them get over.
Well, they kind of used the Baron Corbin breaking ground stuff for Big Cass.
Yeah. And they brought up some of the breaking ground stuff this week for Baron Corbin, which I was quite about the skull
I wish
stuff.
They would bring the damn show back. They've got the money to do it now. My God, I love that show. That was not only one of my favorite shows on the network, that was just one of my favorite shows, period. Yeah. That was an incredible show. Just great stuff. Really good character building there. Oh my God, I almost destroyed this guy. So I have a series that I do every summer called Squash City. I'll take a look at like Stagger Lee defeating the Patriot.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at some of the biggest ass kickings ever. This one might be on there this summer. It was pretty good.
It was very Mulkey Brothers-esque.
Yeah, it was.
For the old school fans.
How do you I mean, he didn't get much of a reaction tonight, and this was a hot crowd tonight. Do you think that he would have been better served with vignettes as opposed to selfie promos and coming soon graphics?
Yes.
He seems like
most definitely that
really would have done well with those.
Yeah, they just assumed that he was coming, and they thought that they do this from time to time on NXT talent. They forget that there's not a lot of carryover from NXT hardcore audience to casual WWE audience. And if you go to shows back to back, you'll hear that. Especially like I remember both at the Royal Rumble and at WrestleMania, you know, there were guys who showed up on screen from NXT and everybody's just kind of like, who is that? Yeah. You need to use your skills of conditioning your audience with the vignettes, with the film production company you have. You have basically a mobile movie company to introduce these characters a little bit stronger than just he's coming. Here's his debut.
I have a cousin who's recently gotten into pro wrestling, and I use him as a gauge. And when I ran down the NXT card a while back, he only knew Shayna Baszler, and he knew her because she fought in the UFC. That's the only one he knew. I see, like, you know, every so often you have a Ted DiBiase, a Val Venus, a Muhammad Hassan, where these vignettes just paint the picture for you. Even Crime Time, to a degree, as cheesy and campy as those were, it paints a picture of the gimmick. And I think you have Ted DiBiase level leeway with an Andrade Cien Almas character and how colorful it is. And how colorful Zelina is and what she compliments and brings to that package to where you can show him out partying and Zelina being like, hey, dickweed, your shit straight type of thing. Like
here's the major difference. In NXT, your work gets you over to impress the crowd. They're kind of sitting there with arms crossed and they're waiting for you to show something. And once you do, you've won the crowd over. You're over in NXT. On the main roster, it's character. It's all character. It's the packaging, it's the sizzle, it's what are we supposed to think about you, what's your hook, okay, now go. That's the two differences. And they're trying to get him over by showing his finishing move and showing his moves and him being dominant, which is good, don't get me wrong. It's a positive. I like squash matches for new guys as opposed to just going out there and beating a Ty Dillinger level guy your first night and having to go back and forth, which was the problem with Asuka against Emma that first time they brought her up to the main roster. But really, you didn't even have to debut this guy until after Money in the Bank because he's not going to be on the card probably. You could have done vignettes for all 6 weeks. And then when he came on the show after that, he would have been much bigger than he is now, although he's still getting a decent reaction, I think.
Speaking of vignettes, they have not been airing the VTRs, as they call them, for Sanity. Just absent. Also, Authors of Pain haven't been on Raw.
No, the Authors of Pain were on Main Event this past week. I am still of the opinion that they kind of called an audible on Sanity, and they're waiting until after this next NXT takeover, and they're bringing Nikki in with the package.
They should. And I could see why they didn't want to telegraph what they're going to do with a Nikki Cross. So good. Carmella is wearing an Asuka match backstage. Then she swerves Dasha Fuentes and calls her a hater.
She is a hater.
She is. It's fine. It's what Carmella does.
Did you see Carmella's tweet of the list of people she's better than?
No.
It's fantastic. She has like a 4-picture list of just everybody who's ever basically been in the women's division and then a bunch of fictional characters. It's quite good.
I'll have to see it. Styles and Nakamura come out to the ring with Renee Young, and Nakamura throws to a video, which I usually hate, but goddamn, he's so hilarious.
He did it great. I thought this was possibly one of the smoothest transitions to showing a video that they've done in the history of this gimmick.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I would say this tonight maybe his best English-speaking promo I've ever heard. I thought he was great.
I thought he was, let's put it this way, I thought he was great. I think they gave him too much to say.
They did. They did for sure.
Because it was getting a bit there were times where I'd be like, okay, why are they okay, shorter sentences for Shinsuke. Shorter sentences, but his delivery was fantastic all night.
AJ and Nakamura go back and forth. AJ wants to know the stipulation, and Nakamura says it will be a pillow fight. Now, this would have been historic because it would have been the first ever male pillow fight in WWE history.
Crossing gender.
Exactly. They had the historic first ever women's pillow fight match, I believe, at what was it? Was it at a WrestleMania?
The lingerie pillow fight, I believe, was at a WrestleMania. Because it was a lingerie pillow fight. But they also have had pajama pillow fights.
They had one, a Diva lingerie pillow fight on Raw in 2008.
Okay.
Let's see here. Wow. Okay. Son of a bitch. They've had like 7 of them.
I was hoping pillow would be a euphemism for ball sack, and it was just going to be finally our ball punching match that we've all been waiting for.
Yes, they had one at WrestleMania 22, Tori Wilson and Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow match. They have not had one since 2008, although on the Hulkamania tour in 2009, there was one. So Hulk Hogan, bringing it back. They get into a brawl. Styles ends up getting hit with a chair, and Nakamura reveals that they are going to have a last man standing match. Your thoughts on a last man standing match just after a Kinshasa as well?
I really liked the chair shots that Nakamura was that he missed because they were going with full force as opposed to kind of that stage fight type thing. I mean, he was trying to lay in that chair into the table, and I really liked this this kind of all over the place brawl. Last man standing, I kind of like it. I kind of think I know the end, because I think again Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be borrowing from his old Chaos stablemate Toru Yano's playbook in some way, or at least that's going to be a spot in the match. But look, these two, if you're going to give me a last man standing match, I think the drama may be a bit hard to pull off for these two, but because of the pausing and the struggling to get up, that may kill the pace a little bit. But I'm more than excited to watch this. Yeah,
I think their matches keep getting better, so I'm going to expect that this one does as well. I was sent a copy of the list, Carmella's list by Kyler. How dare she include Nora Jones? My God. Nothing.
Big Nora Jones fan, are you?
I like Nora Jones. I do
like Nora Jones.
Almost went to a concert of hers last year. Top contender match. Gallows and Anderson defeated the Usos. Gallows and Anderson say that the Usos have blown it against the Bludgeon Brothers repeatedly. Usos cut a good promo. Then they get called nerds and a brawl breaks out. Gallows and Anderson have gotten probably in the best shape they have ever been in. Both of them.
I thought Carl Anderson looked more cut than I had seen him in a while. That was something I was watching.
My God.
Yeah. What I was wanting, and I'm wondering, I'm going to throw this by you. The beginning of that promo was great between the two of them. And it really, to me, it took out all the resonance when they did the nerd thing. And I was like, oh, I wish they could have just done that one thing serious. And that really would have, that really, because I would love that kind of, I was trying to think of a corollary from my youth and my fandom, an old school kind of sheep herders fantastics brawl between the Usos and these two. Like, have this be just a knockdown, drag out fight all around the arena until someone struggles to get a pin for the three. I really would have liked that kind of match, but I liked this match a lot. I liked that. I don't mind the Usos losing. I think that the Good Brothers are sacrificial lambs at Money in the Bank anyways.
Yes, they are.
And it's nice to build them up a little bit to get before they get this loss, but it's also good because you've been killing the Usos in the New Day for the past couple months. Time to give somebody else a turn.
So, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Ultimately, it's babyface versus babyface, and that's kind of what they're over as babyfaces for, is the nerds thing. But, yeah, I'm with you. I think that this would have been better served, even though it was a good match, would have been better served as a brawl that felt like it meant a lot more than it did. And commentary didn't do it any favors. Gallows kicked out of a super kick and an Uso splash, and commentary barely referenced it. I'm like, this combo has won them six titles?
Yeah.
It is just another thing. Also, I will take Anderson's flying neck breaker over the Bobby Roode blockbuster any day. Man, he hits that. I don't know if any of you have played Saturday Night Slam Masters on Super Nintendo. You ever played that game?
Yeah, I did.
You remember Rasta, the Blanca looking dude who would always do the neck breakers and shit? He hit one Rasta style.
I played it in the arcade. That's how old I am. But yeah.
Oh boy, I had it on Super Nintendo, and it's a great one. He kicks one of the Usos off the ropes. Gallows and Jay trade super kicks. Then there's a magic killer for the win. Far too short, but this was really good.
Very good.
Lambs indeed. Money in the Bank qualifier, Naomi defeated Sonya Deville. This is a pretty fun, different opening series between Deville and Naomi that sees Naomi do the splits, and then Deville tackled her real hard.
The thud on that when they call that wasn't a double leg. That was a spear that she did on her, and you could hear the thud when her shoulder went into her solar plexus. That thing hurt.
I think Sonya's going to be real, real good. When it's all said and done, Sonya is going to be really good. Also, there was a kick trade here at the same time, and you really see the difference in quality there. Sonya Deville trained to throw kicks, Naomi not turning her hips, but Naomi rolls up Deville for the win. Yeah, it's fine. They got Naomi in the match. She's going to do probably some pretty cool high spots in the ladder match.
It's fine. I think Sonya is about 20 years too late in terms of she's the type of wrestler who you could call it in the ring and be kind of that kick punch, beat them down type style. I think she gets lost occasionally in the choreographed, highly stylized version of the women's division. I think it'll come. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
tough enough 3 years ago. I mean, just think about that.
Yeah, I'm not burying her or anything. I just think the style of the dance, the choreography is really kind of tripping up what should be a real badass in the ring at times.
Yeah, and obviously they don't have a heavy focus on her with the women that they have signed, including Rousey and Baszler and Duke and Shafir. But, man, I think that she's got just a ton of potential. Daniel Bryan defeated Jeff Hardy. Samoa Joe joins commentary. He is super over. We had seen Big Cass on crutches backstage earlier and never anything again.
Which was more than I thought they were going to mention at first, because I was waiting for it. It's like, because they went down with the match. It's like, yeah, Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy. Winner will get Samoa Joe. And then they just kept talking about the show. And I'm like, are they even going to mention that this was supposed to be Big Cass versus Samoa Joe? And they did in passing. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is Doghouse or just to write him off to protect him?
A little bit of both. I think ultimately this ends up being... So I brought this up on the Fightful Weekender podcast exclusively on FightfulSelect.com. Lars Sullivan is not ready for a top main event championship match in NXT. I don't think he's over to the level they want him to be. I don't think he's ready in the ring. So they had him come out and ruin a match between two people that the crowd really wanted to see wrestle in an effort to get heat on him. I think that's probably what they'll do with Big Cass. They'll have him come out and interrupt the match that people really want to see next week in Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe in an effort to get heat on him that way, as opposed to something character-driven or in-ring driven. I think that's where they are. Now, I know that even Big Cass, or at least I was told that Big Cass was told, we appreciate you throwing out ideas and stuff, but we want something done a certain way.
Okay.
And that wasn't what happened, and they didn't take kindly to that. I don't know. And obviously, I've heard that tensions could be high. It's been like one of the busiest 2 months in the history of the company as far as travel has went, or at least in the last couple decades, between WrestleMania and
South Africa,
Europe,
Saudi Arabia, Europe.
They're putting together these two TV deals. There's a lot going on right now. Upfronts, not even to mention that. They had to have a bunch of people on hand for that. It's been one of the craziest periods, and that has been explained to the talent too. Don't fuck up. Don't do stuff you're not supposed to be. There's a huge magnifying glass on us right now. And that wasn't really something that is scandalous. It's just, they said, don't do it. He pitched it. They said, we appreciate you pitching it, but no. And then he did it anyway.
Yeah.
Also, Byron Saxon, maybe don't bring up what Jeff Hardy gets high off of on commentary.
Yeah, that's one of those things that just kind of happens sometimes.
Yeah, it sure does. Jeff Hardy gains the advantage before the commercial. A top rope battle leads to Hardy hitting a whisper in the wind, and it looks like Brian took care of himself on that one. Like he's watched a couple Jeff Hardy matches in his day, and he said, yeah, I'm going to make sure that I can wrestle this weekend. Brian goes after the knee of Hardy, misses that last yes kick. I'm really excited to see the next time he pivots from that, because we all know he's going to miss that last yes kick every time. Hardy gets the twist of fate, and for a second I was real worried about Daniel Bryan's knees on that swanton.
Yeah.
Boy, he got crushed.
All of it. All of the back on those knees right there.
He finishes off the yes kick, and then Hardy is wrapped up in a heel hook and taps out. Keep in mind, the same heel hook he taught a young EC3 on NXT back in the day, a submission, as EC3 called it.
You know what I really like? I really like Daniel Bryan as go after the knee type of killing technical wrestler. I liked that I think this is going to be his new move from now on, is that somewhere about halfway through the match he's going to throw a drop kick to the knee. And he's just going to go after the
Nakamura match.
Oh yeah, would love it. I'm loving this. And that was a great match.
Because the thing is, we've seen that match out of Nakamura forever, but I don't think really since New Japan we've seen it done the way that it was in New Japan that made it good every single time he went out and did it. Because I could count on one hand the number of Nakamura matches that have blown me away since he came to NXT, let alone WWE main roster.
I could do it on half a hand.
There you go. and you know what? I might be able to stop after the first night he was ever there. Samoa Joe taunts Bryan on the mic as the show ends. It is Bryan versus Joe next week. That is a hell of a SmackDown main event.
I'm ready for it. I thought Joe was pretty great on commentary too, giving Daniel Bryan his props, but playing into the past with the ROH, while not mentioning ROH naturally, but also being the heel that respects his opponent but knows he's going to kill him next week and wants to hurt him. I liked that aspect, as opposed to the seething hate and giving no respect to your baby face and all that other stuff. It was a nice little twist. And of course, Joe is fantastic, and Joe's promo with Renee was great too.
Somebody on our live chat brings up, never saw Jeff tap before. That's a good point. I can't remember seeing Jeff tap. I'm sure it's happened, but my God.
It's been a while if he has.
That's like one of those people I guess you don't really like. There are some things that are like sneaky protected. Yeah. Like nobody's ever kicked out of End of Days. Hardly anybody ever kicked out of the 5-star frog splash. There are certain things and moves that just don't seem to happen. Man, that's kind of interesting. I hadn't really put that in my mind. I would look it up on Cage Match right now, but
going on to Pro Fight DB while we talk here, see if I can find the last time he did that.
Yeah, man, that's not one that I even think about, is Jeff Hardy tapping out. And it did look a little unique. It did look a little different that Jeff Hardy was submitting. I had to show somebody Jeff Hardy versus Sting for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no.
And they were like, did Sting like hold him down for the pin? I'm like, oh, yeah. He sure did.
Probably was whispering something while he was doing it too. It's like, you stay down, you son of a...
So we'll move on past the Jeff Hardy thing. We'll go ahead and talk about the big news. It was reported on Monday that Fox and WWE had reached a deal, 5 years, over $1 billion for the rights to SmackDown Live, with it rumored to air on Fridays. Holy crap. This is quite a jump, because as of at least last year, WWE made $180 million for the whole shebang on USA, Raw, SmackDown, and Tribute to the Troops. That divided up is in the $70 million area for a SmackDown Live on Tuesday. This is about a 2.5, or gosh, more than that, almost tripling your rights fees for SmackDown. Now, this puts wrestling in a unique area. I've had a lot of people saying, oh, this means this means that. I don't know what it means for anything, because this has never happened. And if they got that much for SmackDown, I can't imagine how much they're going to get for Raw. What were your initial thoughts on this deal?
Rob and I talked about this because we were actually doing 2 episodes this week. We talked about this yesterday and last week. And my initial thought was, this is the equivalent in real estate of a short sale. When they came out with the press release saying that SmackDown Live is out there, it's open for the bidding. Oh, and we have some interested parties. Oh, it could land over on ESPN. It could land over on Fox. That was meant to get the bidding out there.
Yeah.
To me. And someone bit and overpaid, thinking that this might be the chance for it. I think it's a rather low bar to put it on Friday night. I think it fits Fox's schedule, because now, potentially they could have live sports Thursday through Sunday on there, or stuff, if you consider wrestling a sport or sport-like substance. I mean, between the Thursday night football, the Friday night, wrestling, Saturday UFC, and Sunday football. Again, that's a heck of a weekend for a 18 to 35 male demographic right there.
More socially accepted in that manner, I think, than ever before. I think it's more embraced by the mainstream and by sports figures than probably ever before.
Oh, but Joe Buck's gonna be kind of snarky on the.
Oh, I'm sure.
But also being on Friday night is an interesting call, because for your generation, the only time Friday night was ever popular was the Friday TGIF on ABC lineup that got ratings. And for my generation, the one time that Friday night was must-see appointment television was when Miami Vice was still on. All they need is a solid number here. So the narratives about, man, they're going to really have to stack it up with a lot of talent, to really impress the Fox people. No, Fox bought the product as is. They want the solid numbers on Friday night and consistency. And if they get the growth, if they get a new boom period like the Attitude Era, it's all gravy after that, in my opinion. I think that's the notion here. And I think the other narrative about, well, now creative's going to be on hold until this new contract gets into effect. It's not like the overall creative vision has been clicking, and there's been a lot of great subtext and deep story writing going on here, guys. You've been getting product. And that's all Fox wanted, and they overpaid for it, and WWE got their money.
There are a lot of discussions over WWE won't be motivated to create compelling content. Well, we don't know that. Like I've had people that were upset at me for refusing to insinuate the quality of a wrestling program 16 months from now. I have no idea.
They could rebrand this. They could totally redo this entire thing.
Yeah,
just for Fox.
They could do a whole lot of different things, and it's a point that I'm going to echo throughout the week. I'm going to compile all these and put them in a video on Fightful, all the reactions to this that we have. But UFC is going to get paid more off of their ESPN Plus streaming deal per show than they do off of a lot of low-level pay-per-views. WWE is going to make more money per episode of SmackDown than they will on a lot of different types of medium that they would have had as options. Good God, man. They have a couple years ago, they were a pay-per-view company, or not a couple, about 10 years ago. 10 years before that, they really, really relied on TV ratings. 10 years before that, it was so much live event and merchandising and all that. It's really, really tough to tell where the dominoes are going to fall. Fox may step in and say, you better give us some good shit if we're paying this type of money. And you better give us some compelling shit. Like I mentioned, Alex, they may have hired a team to go out and do the research and say, is this worth it? Is it going to be good programming? What's it going to be? I'm not in on those meetings. It's hard for me to tell, and I will not assume the quality of a program or even the method, because they're going to make way more off of Fox than they are the network. And that's even before USA Network.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. They and, you know, there's the question of talent raises. Is there going to be a talent raise? Will they do less days on the road? They could, and really not lose out on much of anything. There are so many dominoes that are going to fall here.
Are they going to tape on Tuesday, or are they going to be live on Friday?
I think there's maybe a 5 to 10% chance they tape on Tuesdays.
By the way, I have an answer to your question. Apparently, the last time Jeff Hardy in a singles match lost by submission, No Way Out 2003.
Yeah, just tweeted
Chris Jericho. Jeez.
Just tweeted that 15 years ago.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So, you know, there's a lot of talk of.
I'm not reading your tweets. I'm paying attention to you.
I hate to you looked that up, so there you go. But there's a lot of talk of, will SmackDown be the A show? Will it be the A show?
No,
never will.
Raw will always be the Tiffany brand because it's what brought them to the dance.
Yep. Well, I mean, eventually Nitro was the A show instead of Saturday Night.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, but Raw, you know, when the Attitude Era hit, the spark, there's still this air of nostalgia within the company. So Raw they will dress up SmackDown and tell you it's an equal show.
Yes.
But it's not.
Also, network TV does not mean what it used to mean. It definitely
Correct.
does not mean what it meant 20 years ago. 20 years ago on Fox would have meant a lot more than today on Fox means, because it's just not the same.
No, now you can have a small show with a loyal following that gets a solid rating and it's a hit. 20 years ago, you needed that. It's like in sitcoms, the water cooler show. It had to be watched by almost everybody, and that was considered a hit. So the bar is kind of different now as to what is a hit and what is in television.
I mean, The Walking Dead has seen their viewership like in half.
Well, look at what happened with the now departed Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, its highest rating for the season in terms of a season rating, 97. And it got picked up by another network because of the loyal fan base and also probably because of the star and the producer, you know, and being in NBC's good graces. Does not hurt, but is not what anybody would call a popular show.
Yeah, Lorne Michaels being able to call up Andy Samberg and say, "Can you write a song for us in 2 days?" And him being like, "Yeah."
And Michael Schur being behind Parks and Rec probably didn't hurt either.
Man, I'm really excited about this time in wrestling. And I had mentioned this on the Breaking News podcast I did yesterday. it's not such a bright time in MMA, especially for media. Like, it's not a hot period of MMA. Now, their UFC is about to get paid a lot of money. And the funny thing is, UFC turned down Fox's $200 million per year as a lowball offer. WWE, for a long time, battled that stigma of poor people watch wrestling. Wrestling fans don't pay for shit. And it really looks like they were like, you know what? Kick rocks with that. We're getting paid. And they did.
Let me ask you this, because it's something that I argue with certain people in the wrestling commentariat. Bruce Mitchell being first and foremost, Bruce Mitchell of the Torch. Mm-hmm. He is convinced that WWE is eventually going to sell.
I mean, it could happen. I've just never seen it, man.
I just think it's their legacy. It's the family heirloom to be passed down. And I also think, man, if somebody like a Disney came in and bought WWE, it would be scrapped in 2 years.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Why?
Yeah. Because of content, because it's a content provider. And so
but I mean, why sell if anybody with a Mick in their name didn't want to work another day in their life and pass it off to somebody else and not sell? They wouldn't have to do anything. Right. My God. I mean, one of the articles I wanted to look at this week was just how much money Vince left on the table for taking out the money for Alpha. He left a lifetime of money on the table from the time that he took out money for Alpha to now. I mean, we're talking like 50 to 60 million, right?
Yeah,
it's some unbelievable amount.
Maybe it might have been class. Well, hold on, it might have been Class B stock. It might not have been the public stock. It might have been the privately held stock. So
sure. Vince, Linda, Shane, Stephanie, Triple H, all their kids, Marissa Mazzola, Kevin Dunn, Michelle Wilson, and George Barrios could hire replacements tomorrow, not sell the company, and never work a day in their life. And then their grandkids would never have to worry about money. Shane's kids' grandkids don't have to worry about money right now. That's where we're at. That's why I just don't. I'm not convinced they'll sell. Maybe they will, but that'll be a thing where the day of it happens, and I'll be like, I'm still surprised it went down. I'm still surprised it went down. I put that in the same boat as Impact Wrestling's gonna die. I'll believe it the day that it actually happens.
Well, this could actually help Impact. Because if wrestling is considered a hot product, then another TV network with a little bit more market share than Pop may take a flyer on this now.
Yeah, and they might actually get $1 for it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Impact should be really happy right now. Hey, you think we still see CPAP commercials and knee brace commercials on Ring of Honor?
Yes.
Are you in pain? Kick out! Mother of God, that's where we are. Hey, do you think we see Ring of Honor on WGN next year?
I think WGN got burned by the WWE that one time when the main event was only then. I don't think
they were the home of WWF Blast Off.
I don't think they get back in the wrestling business. I think they now have their
WGN would be owned by Sinclair, so they wouldn't really have much of a say.
That's true.
$1 billion.
The mind boggles. CM Punk was wrong. He's a millionaire who is a billionaire now.
Son of a bitch. Guys, visit Fightful.com. We got all kinds of stuff up there. I won't bore you with the details because there's nothing boring about our stories, especially the one I wrote about the real reason Stokely Hathaway was trying to cut Matt Riddle's hair. Did I fill you in on that one?
I saw the photos.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he was trying to get a hair sample of Matt Riddle to confuse WWE's drug testing team that it was actually Keith Lee's so he could keep Keith Lee within his grips, even though he knows that Keith Lee doesn't have the same hair. Then he later found out they do blood and urine tests, not mixed together. And now he will try to procure blood and or urine from Matt Riddle.
You know, I like Stokely a lot. I probably wouldn't try and procure urine from Matt Riddle.
I don't put anything past Stokely. I don't. What do you got going on this week, Jeff?
Well, there's one show in the can already for Shake Them Ropes. We recorded that yesterday, even before Raw, and Rob went on reckless speculation about the Fox deal. Tomorrow, I plan on recording another episode, perhaps with Rob, perhaps without. It is an Ask Me Anything episode of Shake Them Ropes, much like the thread on the Fightful forum, should you be there. So if you have questions, you can send them to @ShakeThemRopes or @CrapGame13. And I will answer them. It doesn't have to be wrestling related. It could be. I am limiting it to please don't send fantasy booking questions because I really don't care about fantasy booking.
If you want fantasy booking, you can head over to FightfulSelect.com. You don't even have to be a subscriber to submit your question. I'm doing a Q&A podcast this week. I will make up that members-only show. Aaron Hayden had some technical issues. He's got a call. I think it's Time Warner, Spectrum, whoever the hell it is, to sort all that out. We got a little bit of everything. I'm going to do a new feature, probably monthly, if it were a work, if it were a shoot, where I look at WWE cards and UFC cards and book them look at how they end up the opposite. WWE, how their matches would end up if they were a shoot. UFC, how they would end up if UFC could book them however they wanted to. A nice crossover twist, I think. I also have that UFC rankings breakdown. I'm adding more and more MMA content there. Early access to the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. Please check out FightfulSelect.com. It is how we can bring you these shows ad-read free. That way I'm not, shilling you clothing subscription services or draftbeast.com, which is, something you should go to, or livingsharp.com, a wonderful, wonderful site. Leave us a thumbs up, subscribe. All that good stuff helps. We're out.